Hey everyone, welcome to That's Good Denver. I'm your host Chris Romeo, and um, so first off, I was I haven't posted in like a little over a week, and the reason why is I was supposed to post a couple different times before then on this channel, but my computer hasn't been working the past week, and I finally got it to work yesterday, so that's why I'm resuming the predictions for each division today, and luckily I didn't have to buy a new computer because that would have costed like a lot of money, and this computer costs like $400. But anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna be resuming my predictions for each NFL division. I did the AFC North and NFC East already, and today I'll be doing the AFC South. Um, Going back to the AFC, and the Colts, Texans, Titans, and Jaguars, and pretty bad division. If you ask me, I mean, it's honestly going to be between the Titans and Colts on who's going to win that division this year, because the Texans and Jaguars are the two worst teams in football, possibly. And the Colts and Titans are pretty good, honestly, especially the Colts. But it's going to be between those two teams on who wins the division, in my opinion. But before we get into that, you know, to refresh everybody's memory, I'm going to do each team's ceiling on how high I think they could finish this season, and each team's floor of how low I think they could finish the season. Then at the end, I'll rank out the teams in the divisions, go over some of their tough games of schedule, and like predict their actual record. So I'll speculate their ceiling and floor, and then I'll predict their actual record. Um, with that being said, let's hop into the AFC South. So starting off in the AFC South, we got the Indianapolis Colts. My hometown Colts, basically, because I live in Indiana. But yeah, the Colts, adding Matt Ryan, I think, is really good for them this year. Last year they went on a run towards the end of the season. They went 9-6 at one point. Then they choked their last two games away. They lost to the Raiders, to Derek Carr in a good game. Then they somehow lost to the Jaguars that cost them a playoff spot. So heartbreaking ending for the Colts last year. Still a good season. With Carson Wentz. But now they upgraded Matt Ryan, who's a pretty decent quarterback. I mean, he probably is past his prime. I think he's like 34 years old. Um, but I mean, he's still got some years left in him, and they got Jonathan Taylor, who's the best running back in the league. Possibly, it's either him or Derrick Henry. And they still got an all around good defense. They got some good weapons on offense. They have T.Y. Hilton, but he's got to be getting pretty old, I would think. Um, so, I mean, you know, this team, it just depends on how well Matt Ryan will succeed with them and stuff. Their ceiling, I see their ceiling being about 13-4. This is if, like Matt Ryan clicks immediately with that offense. They don't get off to a slow start like they did last year with some tough games. Matt Ryan clicks, Jonathan Taylor has another MVP season like last year, and their defense is lights out like it has been a lot in recent years. So I could see their ceiling at 13-4. Their floor, I have their floor being no lower than 9-8. You know, they could go 9-8 if Matt Ryan, isn't quite the answer. He's just as good as Carson Wentz was, and even at 9-8, they're still going to be competing to win this division probably. Because I don't know if the Titans will be that much better, but we'll see. Looking at some of their tough games that they have, I'll have the camera over here. Looking at some of their tough games, they got the Chiefs, Titans twice. They got the Broncos, your Broncos, the Patriots, possibly the Raiders, Steelers, maybe the Eagles, the Cowboys, Vikings, Chargers. So there's definitely some tough games on that schedule, and you know, I think there's enough winnable games here too. You also have the Jaguars and Texans twice. That should be some easy wins. So, they're ceiling 13-4, their floor 9-8. Then you got the Houston Texans. So the Texans, yeah, everybody kind of knows what's went wrong with them the past 2 years, mostly because of Bill O'Brien trading away DeAndre Hopkins for no reason, trading J.J. Watt, which is, I mean, I think J.J. Watt just left, but that was probably a good decision by him. Now they don't have Deshaun Watson. They don't really have much talent at all on this team. They have Davis Mills at quarterback, and they have David Johnson, who's not really kind of past his prime. Um, so I mean, the Texans, yeah, it's not going to be a great year for them. I don't think. I mean, the Texans, in my opinion, it's either them or the Falcons, who are the worst team in football. In my opinion, their ceiling. I have the Texans' ceiling being 4-13. Yeah, I mean, in all their games this season, I mean, they're just on the outside looking in. They don't play the Falcons. They don't play the Panthers, who, well, the Panthers actually might not be that bad now that they got Baker Mayfield, but I mean, they're not going to be favored in like hardly any games. They're going to be the underdog in every game, and I just don't see them pulling off many upsets. Um, their floor, yeah, I have their floor being. I don't think they would be the third team in NFL history to win 0 games, but I have their floor being 1-16. Yeah, they could possibly only win one game. I mean, I think they will win one game against the Jaguars, but I wouldn't be surprised if that would be their only win of the season. And all honestly, yeah, sorry to Texans fans, but there's not much positive to say about them right now. Looking at some of their tough games. Sorry, I want to save that for later. But looking at their tough games, they got your Broncos, Chargers, the Raiders, the Titans, the Eagles, maybe Washington, the Dolphins, the Browns if they get things together, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Titans, and yeah, the Colts twice. So yeah, that's a pretty tough schedule, especially if they're going to be on the outside looking in most games this season. Then next up, you got the Tennessee Titans. So the Titans, they lost some pieces this offseason. Last year, getting the number one seed was surprisingly. I mean, I actually had the Bengals beating them in the playoffs, which they did. The Bengals won and went on to the Super Bowl eventually. But Derrick Henry got hurt, which hurt them. But then this offseason, they don't have Julio Jones anymore. I'm pretty sure he's just a free agent right now. They lost A.J. Brown to the Eagles. That's gonna hurt them pretty badly, I think. And right now all they have on offense, really, I mean, they have like receivers like Corey Davis, but they only have Derrick Henry, who might could win an MVP again, maybe the best running back in the league versus Jonathan Taylor in the division. They have Ryan Tannehill. He's an okay quarterback, but he's not a quarterback, that you that's the only reliable option on your offense. You got to have other pieces. I mean, Derrick Henry should help a lot, but and their defense is I think their defense is slept on a lot. I mean, I honestly sleep on their defense a little bit. I just don't know that many that good players on their defense. But anyway, I mean, they have an easy division. Even if they are mediocre, I still think they have a chance to push the Colts to their limit for the division. They're definitely going to finish ahead of the Titans the Texans and Jaguars. But their ceiling, I have their ceiling being about 11-6. I mean, losing AJ Brown and Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry's gonna have a big workload on that offense, and you know, I yeah, they could surprise people and stuff, and maybe get close to the one seed or if they win the division. But 11-6 is their ceiling for me. Um, their floor, I have their floor being about 7-10. Um, you know, that's if things, just don't go their way. I mean, if Derrick Henry is your only weapon on offense, all they got to do is just stuff the run and stuff, and then you're forced to make Ryan Tannehill drop back to pass a lot, and then he doesn't do as well, and they get locked up on offense. So yeah, I mean that's if things were to go wrong for them at 7-10 though. Then lastly, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, excuse me. Oh, let me go over some of the Titans' tough games. So, the Titans' tough games. They got the Bills, the Raiders, the Colts twice. Um, Washington might be tough. They got the Chiefs, your Broncos, the Packers, the Bengals, the Eagles, the Chargers and the Cowboys. So yeah, there's a lot of tough games in that schedule, and that's probably why I have their floor at 7-10, their ceiling only being 11-6. So yeah, they also won the division last year, so they have a first place schedule. Um, then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Jaguars, last 2 years having the number one overall pick. Have they done enough rebuilding around the team to where they get better and not be the number one pick for the third year in a row? Because that would be a little embarrassing. Um, Trevor Lawrence wasn't quite what I thought he would be the first year. I mean, he was a rookie quarterback and he was under Urban Meyer, who was a terrible head coach. They're kind of in the same boat as the Texans. Not a lot of talent around the team, honestly, at all. Um, I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is honestly a much better quarterback than Davis Mills. I mean, I don't know why some people are kind of high on Davis Mills, but I think Trevor Lawrence has some potential, and in a few years, if they get more talent around Trevor Lawrence, um, you know, get more talent around Trevor Lawrence, maybe he can succeed more and make a push at the playoffs. Um, this team's ceiling, though, if everything goes right and Trevor Lawrence keeps doing well, I have their ceiling at about 5-12. Yeah, I mean, still not very good, but like that would definitely be better than the last couple of years when they went like last year they went 3-14, and uh 2 years ago they won only one game, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, 5-12 would be their ceiling. Their floor, though, if it's the same old thing and the Jaguars don't really get any better from their rebuilding, I see their floor being 2-15, which would be a one win worse than last year because they went 3-14 last year. Um, and if things don't go wrong and 2-15, they could be competing for a third straight number one draft pick next year. We'll see. Looking at their tough schedule, and for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Washington maybe they got the Titans and Colts twice, the Chargers, the Eagles, the Broncos, the Raiders, the Chiefs, the Ravens, um, the Cowboys, and yeah, so there's definitely some tough games in there. Um, but then to rank them out, how I think each team will do, I have it over here. So at number one, I have the Indianapolis Colts. I have them finishing at 12-5 this year, winning the division. I just think the Colts are an all-around better team than the Titans. I think they have a little bit better of a defense, some more weapons, a few more weapons on offense. Um, and I think Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. He's had some MVP seasons, and I think it's going to be good for that Colts offense. And yeah, he might not be the best quarterback in the world, Matt Ryan, but I think that's a piece that the Colts need. Um, so how uh, looking at how I think they'll do this year, I have them starting off 3-0, even beating the Chiefs, and dropping two in a row to the Titans and Broncos, winning four in a row till they drop one to at Vegas, then winning three in a row, picking up a big win at the Cowboys, losing two in a row to the Chargers, Vikings, and then winning two easy games at the end against the Giants and Texans to finish at 12-5. That record might be boosted a little bit, because uh, their schedule, I mean, within the division isn't that difficult. But I think 12-5 is a reasonable record for them. That's what I predict for them. Then in second place, I got the Tennessee Titans. I actually have them at 9-8. It says at 8-8 for some reason. Um, yeah, I have them winning at Washington. Um, so yeah, I have them going 9-8. I think they'll push the Colts to win this division. They have a tough schedule though, a first place schedule. And yeah, I just don't know if the Titans are honestly going to be that good this year. I think they're going to get really reliant on Derrick Henry because they don't have weapons in AJ Brown, and they're just going to try to figure that out and make Derrick Henry the number one focus. And yeah, if they want to push the Colts for the division, Ryan Tannehill is going to have to step up, and I just don't know if he will. So looking at their schedule, I have them starting off 2-1, win one, lose one, win one. Then going on a 3-game winning streak that they lose to the division rival Colts. Win one against the Texans. Then I have them dropping 5 straight games. In a tough sled of games with their schedule. Like I said, tough schedule. And they bounce back against the Jags, lose to the Chargers, then win 3 in a row to have a winning season. To end their season. So 9-8. It'll be borderline with a 9-8 record whether they make the playoffs or not, depending on how I have other teams and all the other divisions finishing out in the AFC. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them finishing in third place at 3-14. That'll be about the same record as last year. I don't think they'll be the worst team in this division. I think they'll be ahead of the Texans. I think Trevor Lawrence will take a step forward. Um, just looking at some of their games though, they could finish better, but I have them finishing the same. I have them starting off 0-4 till they win against the Texans. Um, then I have them losing the Colts, winning against the Giants, losing 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row till they win a game against the Jets, and then they lose their last 2 against the Texans and Titans. So yeah, I mean, they won't be the number 1 pick this year, but um, yeah, they still won't be great. Then you got the Houston Texans at 2-15. Yeah, like I said, I don't have them being very good at all this year. They don't really have much talent at all, I don't think. Possibly the worst team in the league. They'll be competing for a number 1 draft pick. Wouldn't be surprised if they get it for this upcoming year. So that being said, I have them losing their first 4 until they play the no-win Jaguars. They lose that game too. They start 0-5, 0-8. I have them starting off 0-14, 0-15. Wait, sorry, my bad. Actually, I have them starting 0-2, winning against the Bears week 3. That's my bad. So after starting off 1-2, I have them losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11, 12. Yeah, I have them losing 12 games in a row. That's almost a franchise record for them. Losing 12 in a row till they pick up a garbage win against the Jaguars and then losing the Colts. So yeah, I have them finishing 2-15. Wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little worse, but 2-15 sounds about right to the Texans. I'm sorry that sounds a little crazy, but yeah, I just don't see them being very good this year. So yeah, definitely a tough schedule for the Texans too. But let me know how you think the AFC South will plan out this year. You think the rest of the AFC and the rest of the NFL pan out this year. I'm gonna do some other divisions hopefully later this week if I find time. My computer continues to work. And hopefully, yeah, I can find time other than door dashing, to make some more YouTube videos and stuff. Another thing, real quick, the Rockies aren't doing too bad right now. I could and should probably do more breakdown videos of their season, but I mean, there's 162 games in a baseball season. It's the only sport going on right now, so yeah. They're 38-49. They just won 3 out of 4 against the Diamondbacks. They lost to the Padres last night in a really good game. They lost 6-5. And they won 2 out of 3 against the Diamondbacks a couple weeks ago, and CJ Cron on the Rockies had drove in 6 runs with 2 home runs. That was pretty cool, and they won that game 6-5. But they're like 8 games out of a playoff spot right now. The Rockies are, or 9 games, so it's still possible they can make it to the playoffs, but it's going to be a tough road, and Chris Bryant isn't even really playing that much for the Rockies, so hasn't been that bad, but still not very good. Still about the worst Denver sports team, but at least we have other Denver sports teams to look forward to, including the Avs, who just won the Stanley Cup, and got the Broncos this year, hopefully with Russell Wilson, and then got the Nuggets if they can stay healthy next year. Other than that, yeah, just be praying for me. Pray that my sleep schedule gets back on track. I haven't been sleeping well lately. Hopefully it gets back on track before school starts in a month, and Yeah, I'll be a junior in college this upcoming year. But that's it, everybody. I'm Chris Romeo, and that's good Denver.